Okay, so yes, moving on to the profile. We've got the picture set now. I consider this one of the harder parts of the profile, right? Is what do you write about yourself? Right? Do you write about yourself? Do you write about what you like? How self-promoting should you be? What kind of data do you have on that?
Yeah, so this, there's a lot of options here, so this can be kind of crazy. So the most important thing about your profile is you got to be specific. Now, once again, men are extremely visual, so if you don't have good photos, they're never getting to your profile. So if they're not attracted, it's a game stopper. Men are like blowtorches, so they're either attracted to you or they're not. But women are like ovens where, you know, their attraction can grow. So once again, good pictures, they get to the profile. Now the profile for guys that are looking for love and lifetime partnerships is what's going to get them to message you and go on a date with you and really pursue you. All right, so how do you do this?
Yeah.
Ultra specificity. And what I mean by that is not saying adjectives like, oh, I'm smart, I'm nice, my friends say I'm kind. It doesn't mean anything. You have to tell a very specific story about how you are these things, and then people can give you adjectives in their head about what they think about you. So what I mean by that is it's like, let me give you my example. I wake up at 7 in the morning and I play soccer for 2 hours at the park a mile away. Then I come back and I drink a green juice and blah, blah, blah. But that tells a story about what my life is like. So then they're like, oh, if I was dating Mike, then, you know, every day he's waking up early. So either I would go with him or, you know, he's a morning person. And obviously I just made that up on the fly, but
yeah,
you really want to show exactly what your life looks like and not just be so vague about what you do.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, people, I'm realizing as you say that, what I'm realizing and what it's bringing to light is that people truly do connect with another person's story. And the more that you can create a story about who you are, that person can then imagine themselves as a character in your story, and they can see themselves being included in some way. Whereas if you're just talking about yourself and saying, okay, I'm smart and I'm charming, or I like doing this, it's a little bit harder for that person to see themselves included in this, in your life. It's almost like they're interacting with what you want them to see, which where you're just describing yourself rather than actually including a story about who you are. That's a wonderful tip.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what is match percentage and why is that important?
Okay, so we talked about this a little bit, but yeah, match percentage is the algorithm from the founders that they produced. So match percentage is how connected you are to the other person based on the questions you answered. And once again, just to reiterate, 90% or higher match percentage, 85% of the time you have a good conversation.
Yeah.
And you need to answer at least 200 questions.
Okay. And are these, tell me this, just so we understand, what types of questions are asked? I mean, are these things around like favorite color, or are these that almost represent perhaps some of the core values that you hold near and dear to your heart? And do you think that they're real predictors of compatibility?
So yes, I do believe they're predictors of compatibility, but I will have a caveat. Some of these questions are not going to be important for you. They're going to be silly. Like, do you like red crayon? They don't ask this, but like a question could be like, do you like red crayons? And it's like, why does that matter for love? But then they have some very good questions. So the very first question they ask pretty much everyone is, right now, are you more interested in sex or love? And so that could get rid of some people right off the bat for you. So if you put, I'm interested in love, and interested or answers you're interested in him saying you want love, and then it gives you this could either be a little important, somewhat important, or very important. So if you put that's very important, it weights more into the algorithm, and then you know your match percentage will be matched with people that are also looking for love.
Yeah, wonderful. And you know what I love about that is that I think that when two people meet, there's a couple different questions that the person is silently asking in their mind. And one of them is, does this person find me attractive? And another one is like, am I compatible with this person, right? Is there actually a fit? And when you can go into a first date already knowing that there is a high level of compatibility, I know for me that it would allow me to relax. It would allow me to relax more, let down my guard, and actually be more of who I am on the date rather than guarding myself because I'm afraid of possibly being rejected, which just sounds like it's going to create a much more playful and flexible energy between the two people. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, Clayton, I think that's a great point. If you feel comfortable and you know you have stuff in common, then yeah, right away you can start talking about the stuff you have in common. And it's not a totally blind date. It's kind of like, whoa, I have a little information. Let me ask her about this. I'm really interested in that.
Yeah.
And vice versa. She can ask you like, hey, Clayton, it looks like you're into nature because you have this awesome background. Like, tell me about when you go hiking and all this cool stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So it just loads up, like you have a number of conversation topics to start with. Yeah. So online dating, I know some people that get completely obsessed with it and they're checking their profiles constantly for messages. And it can be in some ways really time consuming if you don't have boundaries around it. And I think that there's a belief that, God, you got to be checking and sending messages consistently to be successful at it. How much time do you recommend per week spending on online dating or on OkCupid in order to be effective at it?
Absolutely. Great question. So my answer is specifically for women because this will not work with men. But you only need an hour and a half a week. And I would highly suggest segmenting it to like 3 times a week for 30 minutes. So like, let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, take the weekend off. Or maybe Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, depending on what's easiest for you. But then you go from 8 to 8:30. So it's a very specific schedule that you mark off in your calendar so you know when you're going to do it. And what's important about this is, you're working your 9-to-5 job or whatever you're doing, and you're not just dinking away at it, 30 seconds here, or 2 minutes there. It's focused energy. It's not becoming your full-time job or your life because some people, are checking it constantly throughout the day, and it becomes very cumbersome. And it feels like a chore.
Yes.
So I would not do that. Now, the reason I'm able to get away with an hour and a half is, well, I'd have to go into my long drawn-out process, but you only need an hour and a half when you're doing it my way.
Okay, wonderful. I love that. Yeah, that puts some nice boundaries around it, and I think it eliminates the question that women might have in their mind thinking, I've got to spend so much time on this in order to get any results. So that's great to know that an hour and a half it is possible to be effective with just that much time a week.